Hi, everyone. We've set up this Being an Engineer podcast as an industry knowledge repository, if you will. We hope it'll be a tool where engineers can learn about and connect with other companies, technologies, people, resources, and opportunities. So make some connections and enjoy the show.
It's only saying, hey, you did a great job. I like that you did this. I like that you performed with this. It's verbally recognition, and they're going to be happy, and they're going to work more and pay more attention and dedication to the process.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Being an Engineer podcast. Our guest today is Dr. Efrain Serrano, who currently serves as the Director of Engineering at Edwards Lifesciences. Efrain has a broad background of experience and expertise in the DMAIC method, medical device development, root cause analysis, and continuous improvement, and holds a PhD focused in engineering management from Walden University. Efrain, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Well, what made you decide to become an engineer?
Wow, it's a long story, but I will tell you the short story. My hobby is aerospace and airplanes. And when I was in high school, I want to pursue a degree related to aerospace or airplane. And searching, I found this paper that the information was about flight engineer. I was reading the paper, and one of the requirements to be flight engineer is to be an electrical engineer. And I said, I want to be an electrical engineer because I want to follow, I want to be in the aerospace industry. And that's why I finished my career on electrical engineer.
Great. And then after you graduated, what was the journey from then until where you are now? Because you're in medical devices right now. Did you stop in aerospace along the way, or did you go right into medical devices?
As a matter of fact, yes. To answer the question quickly, yes, I went directly to medical devices, but there's a story behind that. I was applying outside for aerospace engineer, and nothing came. And then this company, Edwards Lifesciences, called me, and I said, okay, I will try Edwards Medical Devices, and they hired me. And as a matter of fact, I like it, and I like the medical device. I like saving life, and I decided to stay. However, my son followed my dream.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, my son followed my dream. He pursued a bachelor's degree in aeronautics science. Right now, he's a pilot. He followed my dream.
Oh, very cool. So you get to live vicariously through him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in 2015, you published your doctoral dissertation titled Efficient Management of Cross-Cultural Manufacturing Teams in the Dominican Republic. And even though the focus of your paper was teams in the Dominican Republic, I'm guessing the principles that you discuss are relevant to cross-cultural teams in other parts of the world, including companies here in the U.S. Is that fair to say?
That is fair, Aaron. That is very fair. Even though I focus my dissertation on Dominican Republic, and we're going to talk about that, it's applied to any culture in U.S. or outside the U.S. or China and Mexico. During my dissertation, I was searching and researching papers regarding China culture, Mexico culture, and I take some pieces from there and apply that to my dissertation.
Great. Now, how did you come up with this idea? What was the motivation there? Where did the topic come from?
Yeah, good question. Thanks to Edwards. Edwards provide me the opportunity, and they assign me to Dominican Republic to start up the plan in Dominican Republic as an engineering manager. As a matter of fact, I was 2 years ago or 1 year ago. Before that, I finished my master's degree on engineering management. And that's why they give me the opportunity and the career development, and they assign me as a manager in Dominican Republic. What happened there? Even though I grew up in Puerto Rico, and I was in Puerto Rico by that time, even though Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico are close and we speak the same language, the culture is totally different. And basically, for me, it was hard to understand the culture. And basically, I start learning from them. And from there, I start I can say, curiosity to start looking for different paper on the internet, expatriate people who have this experience like me, and I start reading. I say, oh, I like this, I like that. Oh, I can try this in Dominican Republic. And basically from there, I say, hey, I'm doing research. And always my goal was to pursue a doctorate degree. And from there, start the process. From there, start a process to pursue a doctorate degree. I started my researching on college that allow me, because my busy time allow me to share my time, work time versus college. And I found this university, and they give me the opportunity. They interview me, and I passed the interview, and I start my PhD.
Cool. That must have been an exciting time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the big points you make in your dissertation is that the success rate of expatriate managers is low and is a concern for top management in corporations. Can you talk a little bit about why you found that success rate to be so low?
Yeah, that's right. But let me clarify that. My dissertation was in 2015. When I was doing the research was 2012. This process of cross-cultural thing was new. It was new for corporate, because there was in corporates, they were learning and they were transferring operation to different areas, China and Mexico, and my research was based looking on different articles or paper. I found that the reason for that low rate is because there are several reasons. One is training. Expatriate or manager from U.S. who are transferred to another country, they don't receive the right training for their company. And the second big issue is family. The family doesn't adapt to the new culture. And that is a pressure for the manager, because they need to deal with the day-to-day of work, plus the pressure for the family that they don't like the country for several reasons. Because they came, for example, in my case, I came from Puerto Rico. I moved to Dominican Republic. Even as I told you, even though we are close, it's different culture, different environment, and for me, it was easy because my children were younger. But for other people, are hard, because you have adult children or teenager that if you move it to another country, they will not adapt to that system. And that's why the rate was low, because managers accept the challenge. They accept the challenge because they like to help the company. They like the challenge to be a new country. The family accept the challenge, but at the moment to be there on the new country is totally different, and the impact is there. They are trying to adapt to their country, and it's hard. And then at the end, family is first, and manager take the decision to say, I quit. I need to go back to mainland U.S.
Interesting, which is totally understandable, right? If you're
Yes.
trying to do everything you can for your company, but at the end of the day, like you said, family is first. You got to take care of your family. Yeah,
That's right.
This is all very fascinating to me, right? I had never really considered that dynamic before you and I met and started talking about your dissertation. Can you share a specific example of cultural disconnects between U.S. managers and non-U.S. workers that you have observed to make communication difficult?
Wow, it's a good question. Basically, the disconnection is we as a U.S. citizen and managing in U.S. company, we learn the management skill that we learn from the school or from another peers or manager or leader that you follow, that they are good manager. And we are trying to adapt that to a new country, and sometimes hard because, as I mentioned to you when we were talking, you cannot use the same tool that you are using in U.S. In other countries like China, Mexico, Costa Rica, because that will not work. I know that we're going to talk about that more later, but you need to start. The first step is to start. If you move to another country as expatriate, you need to start. The first step is to start learning your team and start talking with your team and start understand then the behaviors, what they like, what they dislike, and basically to be successful, that is the first step, and try to connect that with that new people.
Okay, all right. So you're speaking specifically about expatriates, expats, managers from the U.S. that move to a different country and then are working in this new country with people who live there and their culture. What about for managers that are still here in the U.S. working, but their labor force is largely made up of folks who weren't born in the U.S., who moved here at some point? Are these tools and strategies that you discussed in your dissertation, are they still applicable for that situation?
Yes, the principles are the same. For me, let me give you an example. In Irvine and Draper, I have people from non-U.S. citizen, people from Mexico, and the principles are the same. You need to learn your direct report. You need to learn the people that are working with you to understand basically what they like, what what motivate them to continue doing the right work, and that is the first step. You need to learn the people around you. And as soon you learn that, you're going to prepare the strategy of what you're going to do with your peer, with your employee to be successful. The first step is learn the people around you.
How would you suggest that managers go about doing that? Because we might not even know what we don't know, right? Working with a different culture and people who are used to their culture and we're used to our culture. What's a good place to start? Like what's a concrete, actionable step that a manager could take to start learning about the culture of the people with whom he or she is working?
The first step is listening. The second step is start setting up one-to-one meeting with that individual and start listening to them of what they like, what these people, what kind of motivation that this person have. But the first step is listening. Listening is the main goal here. And as soon you listen and as soon you understand what they like, their motivation, as I told you, you can start preparing your strategy, how you're going to manage and how you're going to lead your team or this individual to be successful and you be successful. No? Let me give you an example. I moved to Draper. Well, first, I moved from Puerto Rico to Dominican Republic, from Dominican Republic to Irvine, California, and now I'm here in Utah. And there are different management styles that I use over there. how I adapt to that management style is having a one-to-one meeting with my employee and understand what they like. Listen, what they like, what are their motivation, and from there you can start your strategy. Okay, I can use this person to help me on this because this person like to do paperwork, right, in the system or computer or create application. I will use this person on this task because they like to do that, and it's just listening.
One of the findings from your research is that cross-cultural training is really important for expatriate managers and even managers here in the U.S. that are working with labor forces that don't necessarily share the same culture. Can you share an example of the type of cross-cultural training that you would suggest?
I will say language, but would be hard. But basically, the corporation need to provide this kind of training to the management to understand culture. Basically, is they need to understand how, for example, how the Hispanic people like or dislike, how to manage, because we are different, how to manage what they like. For example, in Dominican Republic, they like to be recognized for any great job that they do. They like to be recognized, and if you don't recognize them, they're going to be sad because they feel that they did a great job and nobody recognized them. And that is one of the point that I make on my dissertation on how perform cross-cultural training. They need to recognize that kind of individual, because individual feel happy or employee feel happy if you recognize them. I don't need to be with money or a gift. It's only saying, hey, you did a great job. I like that you did this. I like that you performed with this. It's verbally recognition, and they're going to be happy, and they're going to work more for you, work more and pay more attention and dedication to the process. That is one of the examples that we need to add in cross-cultural training for management, is to try to understand this employee, this individual, what they like, as I mentioned, and if they like recognition, if they like to be recognized, let's start doing that. The language is important. Simple word. I have a person that he speak English, and sometimes how can I say this? He tried to speak with me in Spanish, and I feel well because he tried to speak in Spanish, and that is part of the recognition and the connection between me and him, and that is part of this. We need to understand that coworker and understand what we're going to do on the next step.
Yeah, so maybe you don't speak the language perfectly, but the fact that you're attempting to do so is an indication to your team that, hey, I care about you. I'm trying to connect with you. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
That's right. Totally right.
Very insightful. Well, how have you implemented the findings of your doctoral research into your own management style?
Day to day, I implement what I put on my dissertation. Part of my dissertation, there's a subject over there, how to design effective team, and I use that a lot when I came here to Utah. That was part of my first task to create a new organization, and I was thinking and doing a strategy how I going to create an organization to be effective. And the key for me to create an effective organization is not the knowledge from the individual, is not the background or that he have a master or a PhD. For me, is the attitude. If you have a good attitude, you can work with that engineer, and that engineer will make you successful because the attitude. He's not smart, but the attitude will help you to move to the other goal, not to achieve the goal. And I have been applying that a lot every time that I interview for my organization. My focus more is on attitude. I verify his degree, his experience, but more in the attitude. You can be a smart people, but if your attitude is not good, then you will not be successful. My focus is in attitude, and that is the key to design effective team. And it's part of my dissertation. It's in one of the chapter. Is how to design a good organization, and one of the bullet points is that the attitude.
That's a big point, deep insight. If I were a manager working at a company in which many of the workers didn't grow up in the U.S. or were, for whatever reason, not familiar with the cultural norms in the U.S., and I was tasked with developing a management strategy to most effectively lead these workers, what are a few actionable items that you'd recommend I consider implementing into my management style?
Communication, listening, and establish your plan and a strategy to have one-to-one meeting with that with that employee. That is the three biggest steps: is establish the communication, start listening, and a one-to-one meeting. That would be the great point for any management success.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'm going to take a very short break here and share with the listeners that teampipeline.us is where you can learn more about how we help medical device and other product engineering or manufacturing teams develop turnkey equipment, custom fixtures, and automated machines to characterize, inspect, assemble, manufacture, and perform verification testing on your devices. And we're speaking with Dr. Efrain Serrano today. You have a dedication in your dissertation, which I thought was very cool. I admit I have not read a lot of dissertations today, but I wasn't expecting necessarily to see a dedication in one, and I thought it was really neat that you did this. And you mention part of the motivation for writing your dissertation, getting your PhD, was to demonstrate to your children, and I'm quoting here, that nothing is impossible in this life if you are organized, persevering, and have goals. And I thought that was just such wonderful advice, and I can tell your kids are lucky to have such a wise father. It got me wondering, how has being a father influenced the way that you manage your engineering teams?
First, let me tell you this, Aaron. This phrase came from my mother. You're going to make me cry right now. My mother passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
When I was a teenager, yeah, thank you. When my mother was a teenager, I was a teenager. I'm sorry, and just a rookie or sophomore or freshman on the university. I have been sometimes I came to my house frustrated because the class or some issues that I have with my professor, and my mother told me that phrase that dig on me, and basically I take that from my mother, I transferred that to my son and daughter. But this is important. As a parent, as a father, we need to motivate our kids that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. If you set up your goal and you fight for that, will take a 2 year or 10 years, but you need to be focused, and you need to be, and nobody can tell you cannot do it. If you are focused and organized and follow your dream, you're going to make it. That happened to me. I didn't believe that I finalized with an engineering degree. And because I persevered, my mother was there and my father was there pushing me, and I finished my degree. And I transferred this to my son and daughter. And I transferred not only this to my son and daughter, I transferred this to my employee and to younger engineers and teenagers that, hey, if you organize, you do this organized, you establish your goal, at least a goal of 3 or 5 years, and you focus on your goal, you're going to make it. Don't frustrate if you don't make it in 1 year or 2 years. It will take time. Someone can make it in 1 year, other can make it in 3 years, but you can make it in 5 or 10 years. But if you focus and you are perseverant, you're going to reach and your goal. And basically, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please. That was my message to my son and daughter, and always I was telling them that, and thanks God that they listen to me, and they are pursuing their own goal right now. That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing such a personal side. That was really, really wonderful. It's interesting to think about how the dynamic between, at least myself as a father, I think about this, the dynamic between myself and my kids, and the dynamic between me and my team. And there's a lot of crossover there. You know, I feel like I'm able to teach my kids things in the same way I'm able to teach my team things. And there's the opposite to that. My team teaches me things, and my kids teach me things, and there's just a lot of crossover that I've seen. It's really pretty interesting. There's another point I wanted to make. Oh, I remember what it was. There's a gentleman named Earl Nightingale. I think he's passed away now, but he was one of the early personal development type gurus, and he has this program called Lead the Field, and another one called The Strangest Secret. And in both of those, he talks about goals and reaching goals, and this epiphany that he had when I think he was his late 20s or early 30s, something like that. And it was this: we become what we think about. And as you were talking about achieving goals and focusing on them, that was the quote that came to mind: we become what we think about. It's fascinating how easy it is for us to get distracted from a goal, and the power that we can have in achieving our goals if we can simply find ways to continue placing our focus on that goal. And if we can do that for a long enough time, it's almost like magic. The goal, it happens. We reach it.
Yeah, Aaron, I think this is the word. You need to believe it. You need to believe it. And basically, you need to establish the goal. Whatever the goal is, if you want to be a teacher, you want to be the pilot, you want to be an engineer, you need to establish that first goal and believe it. And basically start, the brain is a bigger things that we have right now. And if you continue saying, I want to be an engineer, and you believe that, and you start thinking about that, you're going to get it. Basically, you need to believe it and establish that goal. And again, you're going to get it. You're going to get it because you need to repeat that every day. I will not say I want to be a millionaire because it will take a year, but I want to be a pilot. And I told that my son, you want to be a pilot, you need to believe it. I will help you, but it's on you. You need to believe it. and thanks God, he reached goal. He reached goal. And for the people that is listening on this podcast, believe it, and put your goal, and every day work on that goal, step by step, and you're going to get it.
Yeah, they say seeing is believing, but there's the corollary to that. Believing is seeing. And if you can believe something enough, then it will come to be. That brings to mind another Earl Nightingale quote. He says, "What the mind can conceive of and believe, it can achieve." And I always really liked that one.
That's right.
Okay. Well, just a couple more questions here, and then we'll wrap things up. Let's see. You earned your PhD while working as director of engineering at Edwards, and a director position is a very demanding one. How were you able to finish your PhD without letting any of your director duties slip during the process?
Family support, my wife and my kid. That was the first thing that you need to have, your family support, and time management. Basically, as you mentioned, I was working as an engineer. I have projects to do, and goals to reach on my work. And in the same time, I have other goals, personal goals to reach. That was my PhD. And you need to have a time management. And my time management was before my family support was to sit down and create a plan how you're going to work with this. And it was hard. I was working in the morning, and during the afternoon until 5 o'clock, I was dedicating time to my family during the week. And then after 10, 11 o'clock that my son and daughter went to bed, I start reading and I start doing my homework for the college. On the weekends, the same. I was dedicating time with my family in the morning until 5 or 6 o'clock. After that, I went to my office, closed the office door, and I started reading and doing assignment and online teaching and learning. Until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
It's time management. That's why you need to create a goal and believe it and put your time management.
That's an impressive schedule, one that I think would be hard for a lot of people to keep. Did you find that you needed to take time for yourself during that period where, you were focusing on your job and then on your family and then on your dissertation? Did you intentionally take time out just for yourself to be, by yourself or do something you wanted to do?
Yeah, Aaron, you need to do that. Yeah, and thank you for that question. Yes, I forgot that you need to separate a time for yourself and relax and reduce the stress of the day to day of work and home. I'm sorry, on the school. Yes, it's important that on that time management you separate time for yourself, not only for work, not only for your family, just for yourself. Because if you are over stress, then you're going to burn yourself and burn your brain, and you cannot continue with your goal. It's important that you dedicate time for yourself, and your body will appreciate that. My time was spend time talking with my wife or working out in the gym with my wife. That was my time for me and for my body and for my wife. It's important to do that.
Yeah, that's great. My wife and I, we haven't done this for a while, but for maybe a year or so before COVID is what really derailed this, and we haven't started it up since. But before COVID, for about a year, we would do what we called our free days. And once a month, either myself or my wife would get a Saturday to just go out and do whatever they wanted. And so maybe it was her free day on one Saturday. She'd go out and do whatever she wanted to do. I'd stay home with the kids, watch the house, make sure that, the family was good while she was off doing her thing. And then a different Saturday of the month, it was my turn. I'd go out and just kind of be by myself, or maybe I'd meet up with a friend, but it was a day for either one of us to just do whatever we wanted. And that was, I thought, really helpful for us.
That is a great sample, and that is important for you and your wife to have that free day. And it's important, that your body will appreciate that a lot. And your brain will appreciate that a lot.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have a balance. And how you're going to have the balance is have a time management and put some bullet point over there what you want to do now, later, and at the end. That is the most important thing here.
Well, you've talked about time management a bit. Are there any particular strategies or time management skills that you use on a day-to-day basis, or that you've used in the past that you think others listening to this might benefit from hearing?
Yes. Basically, this is very interesting and funny. I was reading or watching some in TV, the owner of Maverick Dallas, Mark Cuban. I think I was reading some paper from him, and basically, I found something there that made me think, and I said, "This is true." You know that Mark Cuban, they don't spend time on meetings. They want to do that face to face and quickly. They hate the meetings. He hates the meetings because he say that it's not efficient to have a lot of meetings in your Outlook calendar or team calendar. And he preferred to have one-to-one meeting with the person and negotiate. And that's interesting. And I try to do that. I hate to have a long meeting because every day that I sit on my office and I saw my calendar is like a Christmas tree, a lot of meeting. And one of the things to manage time management is decide which meeting you're going to attend. You need to have a decision. Okay, this meeting is important. Can I delegate this meeting? Or can I send a message to the person who is setting up the meeting? Hey, do you need me in the meeting? There is an important topic that you need me and need to cover. And if the person who organized the meeting say no, I'll be very polite. I will say, hey, thank you. I will cancel your meeting because you don't need me on a meeting. Or, as I mentioned, delegate the meeting. Is there some meeting that you can delegate to direct report? Let's do it and attend to the important meeting that will affect your team, your strategy, your project. That is one. The second thing is every day do a list of 5 things that you want to accomplish of the day. 5 things, 5 important things. Put it on your list and make it happen. And every day do that and prepare that list for the next day, the day before, because you're going to remind that is the list and the priority list that you need to do the next day. But only do 5 things. If you establish 10 or 12 things to do, I can guarantee you that on the rest of the day you're going to do 5 only. 5 only. And focus on that. That would be the goal, and you're going to feel happy that you reached those 5 goals on the day. But that's how I manage my time. I use time management. Is every day I put 5 things to do next day. Sometimes I put 6 because depending on the priority. And every time before I leave my office, I go to my calendar and I check how many meetings I have on my calendar for the next day. And then I say, okay, I can delegate this. I don't need to attend this because it's not an important information for me, or this one that I'm going to attend because will I impact my progress, my strategy of my program. It's hard to do, but you need to balance. You need to balance your time, and you need to control your time, because otherwise you will not be effective.
I really like the tool that you mentioned about writing down the 5 things at the beginning of the day or end of the previous day that you want to accomplish. I think that's such a powerful tool, and it takes 5 minutes, right, to think about what needs to get done and just write them down, maybe even prioritize them in order of importance, and then just knock those out one after the other. And maybe you don't get all of them completed in one day, but you know what? If you didn't complete them all in one day using that strategy of having them written down, you definitely would not have completed them if you hadn't written them down. So it's a really great strategy. I use the same thing.
That's right. And if you complete 3, you're going to be satisfied on that, because from 5 you did 3. That is a good progress. That is super. And again, important. And again, you need to control your meetings, how many meetings you have per day, because if you have, as I mentioned, a Christmas trees on your calendar, that would be hard for you to accomplish all the things that are important on your strategy, on your project.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Efrain, this has been really delightful. Thank you again for sharing some of your time with us. How can people get in touch with you?
Yes, Arans, thank you for having me. They can reach me through my LinkedIn account. I think it's Efrain Serrano at att.net. That is the link to the LinkedIn account, or Efrain Serrano, and they can search me as Efrain Serrano, and you can follow me over there.
Perfect. All right. Well, Efrain, thank you again so much. This has been a treat and a delight, and I really appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you, Arnold, for having me here.
I'm Aaron Monker, founder of Pipeline Design and Engineering. If you liked what you heard today, please share the episode. To learn how your team can leverage our team's expertise developing turnkey equipment, custom fixtures, and automated machines, and with product design, visit us at teampipeline.us. Thanks for listening.